I went downstairs, I was leaving the Pentagon, and an officer from the Joint Staff called me into his office and said, I want you to know, he said, sir, we're going to attack Iraq. And I said, why? He said, we don't know. He said, I said, well, did they tie Saddam to 9/11? He said, no. He said, but I guess they don't know what to do about terrorism, and so they think, but they can attack states, and they want to look strong, and so I guess they think if they take down a state, it will intimidate the terrorists. And you know, it's like that old saying, he said, if the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem has to be a nail. Well, I walked out of there pretty upset, and then we attacked Afghanistan. I was pretty happy about that. We should have. And then I came back to the Pentagon about 6 weeks later. I saw the same officer. I said, why haven't we attacked Iraq? We still going to attack Iraq? He said, oh, sir, he says, it's worse than that. He said, he pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office that says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. They wanted us to destabilize the Middle East, turn it upside down, make it under our control.
Far too long now, and the rest of Congress, including the executive branch of government, along with the judicial and legislative, have turned your back on the American people and their core values and principles. I can say with great confidence and speak on behalf of all Americans that your actions against this country are treasonous. All of you, against the will of the American people, have aided and abetted the enemy. You and the rest of Congress, including the President of the United States, have went against the will of your people. In Syria, regardless of your position and vote, whether it is a yes or no, is still a political smokescreen. I believe wholeheartedly you do not care about the will and well-being of the America or its people. You lied to the American people about the chemical attacks in Syria. The American people know that it was our government that is most likely responsible. There is strong evidence, including video, that these attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda, and you advocate starting a war, even maybe world war. President Barack Hussein Obama has been supporting terrorism. The United States has been funding and aiding its organizations, including the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda, for many years now. The same enemy we're supposed to be defeating on the battlefield. At least one country in this world stood up against this government terrorism that you guys support in Egypt. The people of Egypt throughout Mohammed Morsi, which Obama supported as well, as countless Christians have lost their lives under evil people such as this. You swore an oath to protect us and protect from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. The simple irony is the domestic enemy now in this country is the people and government of the United States. And McCain and you and the rest of our leaders are accountable for their actions. It's too bad someone like me is not in office to hold you accountable, because if I was in a position of power or authority, I would have you all arrested and tried for treason against my country under the grounds of 18 U.S.C. 2381 treason U.S. Code. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason. That is the code. The American people are sick of it. This country rose up against you recently. The ratio, hang on, I have a right of free speech, I can finish. The American people opposed to going to war with Syria, which includes many Marines and other veterans by the thousands, was 499 to 1. That is 99% of the people of this country. So if you and the rest of this government are truly for the American people and representatives of us, I suggest this time you listen, because nobody wants another war or strike in Syria or anywhere else. Bring our brothers and sisters home.
Images have emerged on social media purporting to show U.S. servicemen speaking out against a looming strike against Damascus. People in military dress are seen posing in front of cameras with signs saying that they didn't sign up to fight with Al-Qaeda in Syria. These pictures cannot be verified. The Pentagon is reportedly looking into the possible identities of those involved. For some perspective on that, I'm joined by Gordon Duff, a Marine Corps veteran and editor of the independent news website Veterans Today.
By this time, 13 years of war, people in the military have no faith in anything the government has to say at all. They're sick and tired of the war, and the government has no credibility with the rank and file in the military.
What do you make of the fact that Washington is backing Syrian rebels who are fighting alongside militant groups, some of them linked to Al-Qaeda?
You know, it's something that we are noticing every single day.
You're asking about the danger of escalation, really, with Russia and China. I think it's very, very serious. And I think the markets are telling us that. And I think the price of oil is telling us that, because it's really a big thing. So you can't ignore that. No, I don't. I think it's a false flag. I think really, indeed, and it's big risk. This can escalate, and Russia could get involved. What if there's an accident and 100 Russians get killed by our bombs? Who knows? Some type of unintended consequences. Wars always expand.
We do not need a war in Syria. The war in Syria is a hoax. Just like the war in Iraq was a hoax under Bush, the war in Syria is a hoax under Obama. He's talking preemptive strike, the same as Bush. He's talking sending in troops, the same as Bush. The difference is that once we start a war in Syria, it's not just a war with Syria. Russia will be called into Syria's defense.
Ultimately, I do not want any intervention anymore in the Middle East. All wars are lies, and I've been there firsthand to see it, and it's not good.
So the whole idea behind this war policy make us believe that he didn't start the war, which is what he's doing by preemptive executive orders or whatever. He is the problem. Obama needs to be removed, and people need to understand that this puppet needs to be taken down. He needs to be removed from office in order to stop this war.